Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist podcast. Well, I hope all you guys had an amazing Mother's Day. We had a good Mother's Day here, and we wanted to celebrate by celebrating you and taking care of ourselves as moms. So this is Mommy Mental Health Day for us on this podcast. Jacqueline Steinberg, she has been here before to talk about postpartum mental health. She is a licensed clinical social worker and therapist with a specialty in infant, child, and family health and perinatal mental health. She's also an aerialist hobbyist. She's been one of my students in Silks class for many years, and she's been here before to talk about postpartum mental health. But today we're talking about mommy mental health, need fatigue, getting self-care time, navigating unsolicited advice, and, navigating Mother's Day, because it's not necessarily so easy all the time. So, so excited to have you guys here, and also Jacqueline, let's get started. So I'm so grateful. So podcast listeners, it is Mother's Day, and I usually don't record the day before I drop a podcast, but scheduling has been rough, so we are actually in real time. Mother's Day today, and I have to say I'm very happy that I don't have a lot of commitments on Mother's Day today because I'm so tired. And I think it's the worst when you're a mom and you're tired and then you have to go to obligatory things. I think that's like a slap in the face to Mother's Day, personally. And Jacqueline's nodding her head in agreement. Jacqueline Steinberg, she has been here before to talk about postpartum mental health, but she is here again. I have asked her to come to us to talk about mommy mental health. She is a licensed clinical social worker, and oh my God, let me see if I can get all this out. Help me, Jacqueline.
I'm a therapist.
And a therapist with a specialty in
infant mental health, perinatal mental health, and children and families.
And she's also an aerial hobbyist. She's been one of my students for many, many years. And we have to say that yesterday we had class, and this is a very special group that I teach on Saturdays because I've been teaching them for years and years and years and years. Oh, Bean is really talking a lot in the background. Years and years and years and years. And I want to say that we spent at least 75% of the time like giving each other therapy and not being in the air.
Oh, yeah, yesterday was, it was
a special day.
It was a soul class.
It was a soul class, and like everyone seemed to need it. Like one of us we're all dealing, some of us are dealing with mom things, others are dealing with like organizing weddings and other people's weddings and their own weddings, and one's dad is sick, and it was we just needed to massage our souls, and it was good.
Yeah, and everyone's sort of commiserating about Mother's Day.
Yeah, because at least one of our colleagues, she is obliged to the maternal side Mother's Day, where her Mother's Day kind of gets ignored a little bit.
Yeah, the sentiment of Mother's Day is very lovely. We should appreciate mothers and everything that they do. I mean, essentially they carry the world on their shoulders, but it also ends up that a lot of mothers have to do a lot of the work on Mother's Day too. And it ends up being a big thing. I've had a handful of clients that we're sort of struggling with this weekend, going, okay, well, we have to get all the kids ready for Mother's Day, and sort of working with everyone else's mothers. And they love them very much, but it ends up being a more stressful day than they would hope.
Yeah. So Jacqueline and I talked about kind of some of the things that come up, at least for me and the women that we know. Jacqueline, where would you like to start today?
Coming up, I mean, maybe
I want some chocolate.
See, maybe this is a good point. I was going to say we should talk about need fatigue, maybe. As
yes, let's talk about that.
As your cute one here is saying, "Mom, please help me while you're working."
Mommy, mommy, mommy. Yes, I do know moms, and like sometimes it's just the sweetest thing to hear your kid say mommy. But then after the 800th time,
Yeah. It can
yeah,
be, there's only so much you can take sometimes. And I mean, I think that was some of the point about what's challenging with Mother's Day is also being very much needed on your sort of day of rest or day of appreciation too.
yeah. So can you kind of, I don't think most of us need this, but let's just be clear.
Hi.
Hi. How would you describe or characterize need fatigue for moms?
Need fatigue, I wouldn't necessarily call that a clinical term, but it's something that, everyone can kind of relate to where, as a mother, someone is constantly needing something from you. And that in itself is difficult to manage when you're a person at home and, trying to meet your own needs as well. But then there's other life things that happen, for, mothers who are, working as well, who have partners who also need them. And single parenting where you're having to do everything yourself. I mean, there's just only so much. And sometimes the feeling of being needed starts, I think everyone's familiar with the term burnout, right? It starts to feel like a burnout from being needed. There's also like touch fatigue, people who are getting fatigued with people like touching them all the time. And of course, with like an infant and a toddler, they're constantly attached. So,
No, really?
right now, Willa is sitting on Carrie's lap and it's adorable, but there's constant touching. And so it's hard to get things done and to sort of meet your own needs when that happens. And I think with, especially coming out of a pandemic where you've been home all the time, there's even more of that contact. So, it's a really big challenge to sort of figure out how to navigate that fatigue, feel like your own needs are being met while also meeting the needs of your child. And then there also some of the reasons why need fatigue comes up is very personal too. So it could be, your own like family system of like what's expected of you as a parent, or of course, like other societal norms of what good parenting looks like. And the pressures that moms put on themselves for how available they need to be to everyone.
For the moms that you've helped with this, like how do you help them navigate? Like what are some like tangible tools for this particular thing?
Some tangible tools. It's kind of, cliche. I think the idea of how to set up an appropriate boundary that works for you and your family is important. Of course, it takes some time, working through that because it's, what are the feelings that come up when you try to set your own boundary? I mean, I don't, for you, like if you want to go and do something personal, like there any feelings that come up with having to leave your child alone or having to put something aside that maybe needed to get done, but you need to take a personal day? I mean, I think that that's personal for everyone. I don't know for you what that's like, when you're trying to have the you time. I mean, you just recently were able to see a movie.
Okay, Jacqueline, I'm going to tell our podcast listeners about the week I had.
Yeah.
Jacqueline was part of this because about a week ago, Jacqueline said to me, "Oh, I see your man Asa is playing at the Troubadour next Wednesday because he's in the Nasty Delicious band with Craig Robinson." And I, of course, knew this, but I was just like, we were just navigating how to manage him working and me working and who was going to have the bean when. And so she suggested this to me. I went home and I was like, "Baby, do you think I could go?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't think about it, but let's see." And the next day he said, "Hey, I got you on the guest list." So excited. So I haven't been out in a while, and I have these like pleather pants that I love. I think we've talked about these pleather pants. Yeah. They're good. They'll be my go-to pants for a long time, but I just wanted a cute little top to go with it. So I was like shopping online. I went to Free People, and there was this like kind of like meshy, like glittery pink, like nude, like blush color
going out top
to wear on top of this, and like like a lacy bra. And I was like, oh, it's $68 for a tank top, but I'm just going to buy it. I haven't bought myself clothes in a long time. I haven't even gotten to Lululemon in like a year and a half. Like,
that's your haven.
Probably like, you know, that's my haven. I mean, that company is suffering right now from me not buying stuff.
I know.
Because they're used to my money. So
where did she go?
They're also, where did she go? So I bought it. I was excited. We got the whole week planned. I called Jacqueline. I was like, hey, do you want to go? And she's like, yeah, let me go buy a ticket. So she bought a ticket. Everybody's cool, happy, everything's planned. So the next week rolls around. My delivery is getting delivered to the local Walgreens because I thought, hey, what if I miss the delivery? Then I'm going to have to chase this package down. So I go to Walgreens to pick it up. It gets there the day of the show. And I go with the bean into Walgreens, and they scan a package, and it has my name on it, and it's not my package. It's something else. It's like a record. It's a record that I've never heard of. By the way, when I told Asa, he was like, well, what's the record? I was like, who cares? It's not my tank top.
You're like, I can't wear it.
I can't wear it. So I'm disappointed because not only do I have not my tank top, but I also have this record that I'm now going to have to probably send back, blah, blah, blah. So Bean really wants to play with all the toys in Walgreens, so I let her play with all like the sand toys and, you know, the cheap toys. And then, you know, we take our time, we walk back to the car. Bean has to get into the car seat by herself. If she doesn't, we have to start the process all over again.
She's officially in toddlerhood.
Officially.
It's the I'm independent stage, and I will do it myself.
That's right. And if we don't, she does a thing where the hips go up and the glutes turn on, and the hips won't sit down, and I can't.
You can appreciate the glute bridge as an athlete professional, but as a mother, it's really difficult when you're trying to load a child into a car.
That glute bridge is like the best anatomical biomechanical glute bridge I've ever seen. Her glutes are working the way they should, unlike me and most of my clients. So by the time she gets into the car seat, I know podcast listeners are riveted. I just get into the car and drive off to the grocery store. Where was the record in the box? On top of the car.
Yep. But here's the thing, you know, this was like you had to focus on the need of a child plus 1,000 other things. And speaking of what, you know, your being is going through right now, she's not an infant anymore. She is, you know, very much going into toddler, and they have this wonderful, like explosive brain development at this time where they go, I have my own mind and I want to explore and I want to do things and I want to try things myself. And it's wonderful and also very inconvenient. And it's so hard to manage all of that at one time. And so there you go. You drive off with a package on the top of your car and never to be seen again.
Well, then I drive to the grocery store and we are on a mission to get donuts, which I talk about every week in class because I found the best donuts in my neighborhood. But it's not fast because she's pushing the little toddler cart. So by the time I realize this package is not in my car, we drive back to Walgreens. It's gone. I call Walgreens. I call the inside store so I don't have to get her out of the car seat and back in.
Yeah.
And I leave my name and address, or my name and phone number, and the manager is just like, it's Van Nuys. It's not going to be turned in. But
worth the try, I guess.
So, worth the try. There could be a good Samaritan somewhere in the LA Valley. Then I go home, and it's Asa's home. He's about to go to tech rehearsal, and I tell him the whole story, and he's like, "But what was the record?"
Yep, that was the important part.
I didn't mention it was a shirt that I really wanted to wear. Like, I forgot that part. I say, "Hey, I'll see you at 7:30 tonight." He's like, "Well." I found out that it's advertised for 8, but there's 3 comedians going on before we even hit the stage. So basically that has in effect effectively canceled my night because our babysitter needs to head home by like 9:30.
And by the way, they didn't even start playing until 10:15.
So I had called Jacqueline, and this is how that phone call went. Me telling her, and she goes, "I'll figure it out." And I put down the phone and I go, this is a terrible feeling. On all ends. Yep. Yeah. And then, so she has to figure out going on to this sold out concert by herself. And then I go to work because my babysitter was coming to cover me to teach an aerial class and then to go to the concert. And so I told her, she's my sister-in-law, I decided to go see the new Harry Potter movie because I had 2 hours. I still had her for that 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to go see the movie. But before that, I left work and forgot my wallet, my whole book bag.
Oh, no.
At work. Did I tell you that part?
No.
Yeah, so I had already bought the ticket online, but then I went to the movie theater and didn't have any cash, so I couldn't buy like popcorn and soda, which makes the whole thing pointless.
You need the treat.
So I basically then I texted my sister-in-law, came back home, thank God she was sleeping, got the $20 that we keep in the house cash, and then went back and I watched the movie with a full heart because I had popcorn. And then to cap off the week, it did get better. It did get better a little bit at the end of the week. But I was teaching another class. We had the roller door open, so it's like a half open space. And then I was like trying to turn on the music, and I look up, and a flying cockroach flies straight into my face, into my eyeball.
Yep. Because that's just quite the metaphor for parenting, right? It's just one thing after another, but you also get it in life too.
Yes, Jacqueline has been a good example of that. Her year's been slightly a garbage fire too. Yep. But so all this said, I'm so exhausted this week and I don't know why, but of course I know why.
Yeah. And I think that, something like this concert, right? It's, even when you make the effort to do something for yourself, with your partner, right? You have this special night planned. One, it's not easy to set something up like that. You're having to coordinate a whole bunch to make sure that everything is taken care of while you're not there and that you feel good about your child being left in someone's care and, you feel okay to leave them. But then when it doesn't work out,
Mommy.
It's so disappointing. I mean, it almost makes it, I think what comes up is people just go, I'm not even going to bother with doing something for myself because the amount of effort it takes for me to get this set up is just not even like, that's more stressful than, just working through the time.
Right.
And so when you're asking about like concrete things, I think like I would work through like with a parent, okay, what are the challenges with setting up care? And then also how does it feel to be taking the time away from parenting? Sometimes it's like, it's easier if I just do it myself and I don't have to worry about it because I have stuff done. But other people feel like, I feel like if I'm not there for my child, I'm not confident that other people can do it themselves, or there's some anxiety that comes up. So there's many different reasons why people won't address some of the need fatigue that happens. And sometimes it's just, I don't know what I need. Like there's, I'm constantly being asked for things, or I'm thinking about other people all the time that I haven't thought about what my needs are in some time. And so even thinking about what is it that I need to feel like myself again is very difficult to think about for some people.
In a couple ways, I have done a lot of work on this and actually come to a place, because I think that like a different version of me wouldn't have gone to see that movie. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, no, I'll just send our babysitter home because she's got a long day. Because basically, like our babysitter, whose family, she's like, she wants to help me out. Her kid is 9, and he's a lot more independent, obviously. So she is like on board with like, what do you need? What do you need? And I think that, a different version of me would have been like, I'm good, just go home. I got her. I can't go to the concert anyway. I'll just stay home with the bean. And instead, like, I knew what I wanted. And actually, she had said, well, why don't you wait on Asa and see if the time could possibly be earlier? And the thing is, I just know better. Like, if anything, with Asa's, that it's a gig. It's going to go later, if anything. Yeah. And it did. And I knew that. And everybody was kind of, the people I talked to were like, well, why don't you just, like, I don't know what they thought, go get a massage. No, like I know that I want to go see Harry Potter, stuff popcorn in my face and a Diet Coke, and if any of those elements are not a part of it, it is a wash. It's not even worth it.
You want the whole experience.
I want the whole experience. I want to not work. Like, I looked at my phone a couple times because, of course, somebody has my kid. But I don't know. Like, if you can sit around and daydream about what you would do with your time if you had a little bit of it, I say the first opportunity you have, go do that. Like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not a movie for you. Maybe it's maybe it is a massage. Yeah. Maybe it's drinks with the girls. So this kind of goes into the self-care idea. And I think this idea of self-care gets tossed around a lot, almost not helpfully.
Yeah, I have a hard time with I think the term self-care has been very watered down. I mean, we kind of use it for everything now, but it's also, when I think about self-care, I don't think just, the massage piece or going to a movie, but it's really what is the thing that would help you feel like you feel not necessarily better, but like will satisfy the feeling that or the urge that you're having. So, I think we talked maybe about this a little bit when, we were talking about perinatal or like postpartum, depression and things like that, where everyone says, sleep when the baby's sleeping. It's like, well, yes, sleep is important and that is a form of self-care. But if you're up and stressed about, the dishes have piled up and, I need to like do my taxes, like that's a form of self-care also. So if you, instead of feeling a pressure to do self-care a certain way, it can be something like errands, right? Or getting something off your plate that has been weighing on you. It's not necessarily like, buying a treat, which it can be. Those things are nice, right? But it's how do you find the time to do the things that will genuinely help you feel like you are able to kind of move forward with things, or that the pressure that you're experiencing has been alleviated a bit. And I think for something like, your situation, that what was important for you was to have a moment where you weren't doing the duties of mom, right? You could have some individual time, and that you had put in all of this, effort to try to have an evening to yourself or an evening out. And when it didn't work the way that you had hoped it would, you found a different way to satisfy that need, which was for you going to a movie and having some quiet time and being alone, which, is great, right? It doesn't have to be the concert, even though it was, disappointing for many reasons, but.
Yeah. And I also feel like, okay, this is the other emotion that comes up for me sometimes. When I'm just venting to people about this feeling of like, oh, I'm just so, it's like this kind of like, tiredness that I can't like shake. They're just like, take care of yourself. And then there's a weird feeling about having to explain to them why that's so hard. And then a weird feeling around, there's like a guilt to it that I don't want to take all the steps to actually do that for myself, because that is more stressful than the actual thing. And I just wanted to vent. I don't want anybody to solve my problems, and I don't want anybody to give me suggestions. Mm-hmm. Is that a lot of moms?
I think that's people in general.
Oh, look at that segue on unsolicited advice.
Well, I mean, it really is.
I didn't mean to, but that's where that landed.
Yeah, all of these things are so intertwined, and this is the other point that I think you're speaking to about self-care, which is sometimes it's used as a way when you're sharing a feeling, an uncomfortable, sad, or angry feeling to someone else, and they say, well, why don't you just do this? Like, how about you do that? Sometimes it can feel dismissive or like you're not being heard, when really the self-care act was the connection that you're trying to develop through the vent, right? You're trying to have someone listen to you and to be heard. And sometimes that's the best medicine for it. And yes, there is a significant value to the self-care, to doing things that are healthy and good for you and sort of give you a well-rounded life. but it's not needed all the time. And then I think with parenting, you have the added pressure of everyone kind of has this idea that as a parent, you want to know how to do it. And everyone has suggestions for you, whether you asked for them or not. And so, why don't you go get a massage? Or even like, I mean, I'm sure some people would have said like, just stay out later and you paid for the babysitter anyways. It's like, well, you have to figure that out for yourself. And you also didn't ask for that. I mean, do you get, how much unsolicited advice do you get?
I feel like I don't get a lot of it because I've drawn pretty good boundaries around. And also, I talk to my students a lot because of the people I see the most. And there might be a little bit of a boundary there of authority figure.
Yeah.
So I think that helps a little bit. Like they're not necessarily equals, even though they're equal humans. I don't pick up the phone and call my friends who I don't ask people's opinions about how I should be doing things. I just never do because I've just not liked the answers I've gotten in the past. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's sad. I don't just call my friends, but I don't.
Well,
and I'm not saying that I wouldn't ever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's kind of one way that I've dealt with getting unsolicited advice.
Well, I think all of these are, the kind of the points that we're talking about is how do you set an appropriate boundary so that you can be there for your child while also being there for yourself and sort of fitting into all these roles. And something like, well, I have these friends that I like to talk to for certain things, but for parenting stuff, these are not those friends to talk to. I mean, that's a great way of sort of differentiating who are the people in my life that can meet certain needs or who are good at certain things, and setting a boundary so that you can then, not feel like you're having to sort of like wade through all of this advice. And like there's so many different parenting theories and cultural differences. And even, I mean, talk about unsolicited advice. Family is usually a big stressor for that, grandparents and siblings and, different family members having this, all their own opinions about how you should be raising your child. I think that can be a harder one to set boundaries for when it's a family system.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I don't actually have that issue. And I feel like that would be incredibly hard to navigate. Incredibly hard.
Even within a household too, if you're a two-parent household, then you might have like partners who are saying like, do this, do that, right? Yeah. And of course it's different because you should, the ideal is that you're making those decisions together, but no one's perfect. You are individual people who are raised differently and who might have different ideas about things.
Yeah, but there are wrong ways and right ways, and some people are more black and white than others. Mm-hmm. And
exactly. So you're having
no.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Hi, Bean.
Yeah.
She's sitting on my lap just talking to herself.
No, she's been great. Just listening to your earphones and chiming in when she needs to.
Yeah, she's listening to you.
Oh, yeah.
She's listening to you.
She and I do love a good chat.
Yeah. Jacqueline comes and babysits once in a while when I am in need. So on Mother's Day, how do you have any suggestions or tips on how to navigate Mother's Day?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit too late for for people listening because they're already, in it now. But
or maybe how to navigate those emotions that just happened.
Yeah, this is where, if you feel like you love being around the family, you like all the traditions, and you're so excited to see what your kids have, you lean into it. And if you feel like you have multiple mother figures that you need to see, and you're one of those like multi-event like type of families on Mother's Day, again, this is maybe one of those times to look at the boundaries and see what works for you and what doesn't. And again, I think it's challenging because, family dynamics are always more complex and it's hard to say no sometimes, but it is possible. And if it isn't, then I would say just know that for yourself. Again, I don't want to throw in the self-care thing there, but, know what it's like for you to go in so that you can sort of gauge your feeling before you go into an event, breathe through it and then set something up for you afterwards that is for you and that you want to do, or something before so that you're feeling the best you can going into the event.
By the way, she's going drinking, drinking, drinking while you're saying that. I'm like, you know me so well.
Drinking.
Are you talking about drinking milk? Are you talking about drinking water? How about juice?
Yum.
Yeah, yum. Yeah. Jacqueline just shared with me that she saw Doctor Strange last night.
Yes, I did.
But I am going to, this week, carve out time with Asa for myself to go see Doctor Strange by myself. That is my favorite, pastime, on my own thing to do.
Yeah.
Even more than yoga, because I have to say that, exercise is my job. And yoga is amazing, but the goal of yoga for me is to, maintain my body for work. So I like the movie. Hey! I like the movie because it's completely non-related. And I'm a big nerd. So,
there's also a time, in the movies where, your phone is supposed to be off, right? Like no one is supposed to be able to reach you, and it's dark and quiet, and you can kind of check out a little bit or get sort of more involved into a story or something fun.
Something magical that has nothing to do with real life, which is why I never see whenever I need this, I don't see a realistic movie because I don't want real life. I want magic and just magical stuff. And by the way, do you know how I solved my COVID? The world thinks COVID's not here, and I don't want to wear a mask in the movie theater. So guess how I dealt with that?
What do you do?
So I basically eat my popcorn straight out of the bag.
Face in the bag?
Yeah, my face is in the bag the whole time, and I'm just breathing in the butter.
There you go.
And I just keep the bag straight over my face. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Perfect. Exactly. Quicker eating and safety. CDC recommended.
Can you imagine if I just put 2 ear loops on it? And just stuck in my face like that?
It's like a feeding trough, a feeding bag.
Because I also don't want to eat it and not smell it. Because smell is part of it. So 3 birds, 1 stone. And I'm very proud of my invention.
Yeah, it's a great invention. And also the times when you can go see movies are sort of off hours. So it's probably a little less crowded than if you went on a Saturday night.
Are you saying that other people seeing me might be embarrassing? Mm-mm.
No, I was saying for COVID reasons that you have.
For COVID reasons.
Have a less crowded theater.
Yeah. So, Jacqueline, thank you for carving out some time on your Sunday morning.
I am happy to do it. Happy Mother's Day. My family is out of town, so I don't have the family events today, so I was happy to spend it with some moms at least.
And you can have Jacqueline Appreciation Day. Before I had a beam, I had Carrie Appreciation Day a lot.
Yep, yeah. Carrie Appreciation Day. Exactly. No, and now you have a bean, and you can still have Carrie Appreciation Day when you can. It's just a little bit harder to make happen, but it's still necessary.
It's a little bit harder. Yes. But then also, Jacqueline, I had the thought yesterday because she's like this all the time with me. And I'm like, at some point, she's not going to want to just sit here with me. And I'm going to cry about it. So I'm going to, I think that's the other part. Some moms don't necessarily want to go take care of themselves because this is also very joyful and having the kid. But then after a while, like you do need, it just, you just can't do it 100% of the time.
Well, I mean, like life,
so.
I mean, just because there's times where you have need fatigue doesn't mean that you also don't like to be needed. You can feel both of those things.
I need you, Jacqueline.
Time. Yes. Oh, I am needed. I am needed.
You don't feel any lack of that. You feel needed a lot.
I do. No, I mean, it's great. And even with there are some times where advice is welcome, but then other times where it's just unsolicited and you don't need it. So, you can feel all these things at the same time. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or that you can still love your child and have moments where you don't like them. I mean, all of that is true. And your child is getting very sleepy right now. Her eyes are...
Oh, she's starting to blink.
They're starting to droop.
She
goes, this is so comfy sitting on mom's lap. Almost nap time.
Yeah. Okay, Jacqueline, thanks for being with us.
Oh, I'll just leave this. Speaking of things that like you can feel multiple ways. There's a book by Karen Kleinman called Good Moms Have Scary Thoughts. It's a little more postpartum oriented, but so it's a little bit more skewed towards women who are experiencing sort of postpartum issues, but it's, I think, a nice book for, people who are maybe going through some depression or anxiety and worrying that they're not sort of good enough as a parent, and knowing that you still are, even though there are some feelings like that. And also for anyone who has a toddler, Parenting from the Inside Out is great by Dan Siegel. Brainstorm is for teenagers. There's The Whole Brain Child. But there's just some books that I think are nice for people who are wanting to read a little bit more.
Jacqueline, do you have a book recommendation for how to deal with when a flying cockroach flies into your eyeball? Is that a tetanus shot thing? No, somebody told me no.
No, it's not a tetanus shot thing. I mean, at that point, you have to call it a day. There's no hope. Just go to bed.
No hope.
That's it.
Try again tomorrow.
If a large cockroach flies straight into your face, you got to start over.
And then we saw the cockroach on the floor after it flew into my face, and it was ginormous.
Yeah, they're coming out now. It's warming up.
And I'm just so grossed out. Can you imagine if it flew into my mouth? I would literally have died.
Oh no. Oh no. Willow thinks that's very funny.
Oh my God. Just start over.
Just start over.
Day. There's nothing. You can't save that
That's my professional advice. Just start over.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you.
Of course, anytime.
All right, Jacqueline, thanks for carving out your time this Sunday morning to be with us. We really appreciated you and your wisdom. For my moms out there, I hope you had a great Mother's Day. And if you didn't, treat yourself somehow. Do something. I'm going to try to do the same thing this week. I'm going to see, hopefully, that movie, No One Tell Me Your Opinion, because it always messes me up for the movie. And if you want to check the show notes, there is a link there to the new 3-part video series, Aerial Rehab, that I am working on. It is geared towards aerialists coming back to their practice from pregnancy, surgery, injury, or just a long break like the pandemic. Micro progressions to help you get back. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. If you would honor me with a 5-star rating and a review anywhere you get your podcasts, I would appreciate you forever. And I'll see you guys next week. This is The Expecting Aerialist. I would like to report that I made the home-cooked Chex Mix without half the ingredients, and it is not the same.
Yeah, it's amazing how when you don't have everything... don't have the ingredients.
Amazing when you leave out 2 of the most important ingredients, it doesn't taste
What
the
did
same.
you leave out?
Well, I can't have garlic and onion, and I wanted to like take that out. But then the Worcestershire sauce might also have garlic and onion in it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like my small way of like reintroducing those things back in my body because it doesn't make me sick. I just like I know I want to like take it out of my foods, but maybe I'll just eat regular Chex Mix. Screw the sodium. You know, the sodium isn't as bad as I thought it would be. I looked at the bag. I was like, don't look at the bag because then you'll know.